Hey again, I have an interest in weird and obscure uh, documents and even artwork, and I want to talk about something called the Voynich Manuscript. That's spelled the Voynich. It is a vellum from about the 14th or 16th century, although it has been carbon dated by the University of Arizona to between 1404 and 1438, 1440, I think. It's been verified as being created during that date, and it's the strangest documented manuscript I think I've ever seen. It's written in some kind of cipher, which has never been worked out, deciphered. The best code breakers from the Allied side in World War II, they couldn't crack the code. They've also, the University of Yale, I believe, who now own the Voynich Manuscript, ran all kinds of computer sequences and algorithms to try and break the code, and they still had no success with it. It's just a rather strange document. It's got some very, very strange artwork in it. It seems to be botanical in nature, and one thing they think they have figured out is that the Voynich Manuscript maybe had to do with something called herbalism. Now, apart from the strange artwork in the Voynich Manuscript, I first heard about the Voynich Manuscript when I think I read an article by Terence McKenna in Wired years ago. I think it was Wired, where he spoke about this strange manuscript that was held in Yale, a university in the USA. The manuscript at one time belonged to Emperor Rudolph II of Bohemia. He was an interesting guy. He was basically a king, an emperor who had an interest in the occult, and he basically gathered all the alchemical texts from the Arabic world in Europe that he could together. And during the time the Voynich Manuscript ended up in his hands, or maybe afterwards, it was also in the hands of two very, very interesting characters. One of them, the first one, is John Dee. John Dee was a guy who existed in Queen Elizabeth's court in England. He was the original 007. He was a magician and an alchemist, as well. He was the founder of MI5, and he was a very strange and shady character. He undertook some very strange experiments, and he was involved in espionage and several other things, and he was very, very closely connected to Queen Elizabeth II and the Tudor court. While him and his friend Edward Kelly was this Irish guy who was an interesting character as well. He was sort of like this rogue, this raconteur, this character, but he was also an alchemist, an alchemist again, and the two of them ended up in Rudolph II's court in Prague, and they were hawking these various manuscripts. They were both kind of characters, and maybe they were a bit shifty as well, but they were nevertheless two interesting people, and that's how this document made its way back to England. It then, I think they were trying to sell it, but they couldn't flog it to anyone because the text was so indecipherable. It ended up in the hands of a guy called Voynich, who was a Polish-Lithuanian-American book dealer, and it's been in Yale University, I think, since about the Second World War, maybe before that. But I'll include some links to the Voynich Manuscript below, and it is truly one of the strangest documents I think I've ever seen. The artwork alone is so bizarre, and then you couple the text, which is a cipher which can't be deciphered, and then you add in all these interesting characters like John Dee, King Emperor Rudolph, and Edward Kelly, and you have something that I think should be more well known than it is, and I hope you will take time to go and look at this remarkable and fascinating document called the Voynich Manuscript. Thank you.